Strategy into our sector spotlight, which is going to be retail, because it's sort of the retailers reporting season now that's kicking off, right? So we had Urban Outfitters reporting after the bell on Monday, had a solid beat on revenue and EPS. Gross margins and operating margins were higher. Comps in the retail segment were up 1%. Expectations were for a decline. They raised prices, but I do have to point out that management said that they're facing a slow and lengthy recovery punctuated by periods of uncertainty and inconsistency.
Right.
It's like, here's a solid quarter, here's our good guidance, but who knows?
Exactly. So if you look at the chart, which is going to give us some more clarity, you look at Urban Outfitters.
Which was up about 7% yesterday in aftermarket.
Yeah,
anyway.
it bounced off the lows. It's still below the moving averages. It has some room to 33. I wouldn't go out and chase it. I don't think it's the class of the group. As long as it holds above this like 28, 29, perhaps it can go. I don't think it's a leader.
Okay.
I think it's more of an avoid, considering look where it is on the chart. It's got a lot of overhead resistance in front of it.
All right, not a leader, but what about a Home Depot? Reported this morning revenues came in at over $20 billion. That was above expectations. Company made 86 cents a share. Also guided higher for the year. It's a housing and retail play, which makes it a little bit interesting. Can we look at the chart and see where there's a good buy?
Well, today they came out with the good news. Let's see if the market applauds it.
Right.
So right now it did have a little bit of a move off the lows. This stock's been obliterated. This was your upper stop to get out once we broke this level. This was your other area to get out. If you did so, you could have bought into support. It's had a move off these lows, so I'm not sure how much more it can get on those earnings. As long as it stays above 30 and stays above these areas, maybe buy against 30, and then eventually it could get up and retest that 33, 34 zone.
All right, along the same lines, let's go to Walmart. Reported this morning also earnings per share about $1.09. Revenue came in at $108.64 billion. It was a tight beat. It was a beat, but it was super tight. And then guided Q3 in 2012 are relatively in line.
Okay, so it's in line, so nothing too exciting.
Right.
This stock actually hasn't really broken above this pivot area. I would say, this has less priced in because it hasn't had such a move. I would say if it can get above this 50 and hold on earnings, there's a chance it can get back up and retest this 52, but this also technically doesn't look good. The more I look at these retailers, the more I want to avoid them because they're all below the moving averages. They've all just had an oversold bounce with the market. So these retailers, the stocks are telling me, even though they're having good news, they're telling me that there might be something worse on the horizon with consumer spending.
Real quick along those lines, you were liking Lululemon and Macy's yesterday, so I wanted to check in real quick. Now that we're having good retail news, but the stocks aren't doing that much, they were kind of flatlining yesterday, so what do you want to do?
It was tactical. Lulu had a really big bounce. We talked about selling strength in the key stocks yesterday, considering we had a 1,000-point move in the Dow. Real resistance, 59.60 in Lulu, so take a look here. It had a nice pause, so if you were long it tactically, when we first spoke about it down here, okay, into this support, here is your big move into resistance, your sell area. So now we need to see, can it hold higher, go sideways and go again, or was it just a bounce back into resistance? So right now Lulu needs to prove that it could hold higher. I think it does. This is something I'd rather turn to. As long as it stays above, this 55, 56 area, it's in the game as a momentum leader.
And Macy's, you putting on the sidelines for now?
Macy's, I don't like the way it acted with good numbers. Okay, they sold it, so that means it needs time, which goes in in line with what's going on with these retailers. Macy's, you could be tier 1, don't add on strength or on weakness, give it more time.
And then two retailers you need to be checking out today are also Saks and TJX. They're reporting after 8 a.m. today. So same kind of strategy, right? See how they hold up after good numbers or bad numbers?
Yeah, I just looked at both those charts. TJX chart looks a bit better than Saks, so it better have better numbers because it seems like it's pricing in a good report, where Saks doesn't seem like it's pricing in such a good report.
All right, fair enough. And we will have some quick ways to make some cash right after